Good morning, sports fans. It's Mark Oldoff, Guy Halpern here on the Sports Insanity Network, brought to you by the Dugout of Millwood that is now coming back strong. We are here for our Sunday Sideline Report, and along with me is Danny Boy Reginald. Good morning, Dan. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, you got that, it's the fall cold weather, unfortunately, that's what's got us down. Got me down a little bit of a cold, but I'm here. How you doing?
Woke up still sleeping on the air mattress, in my new pad. It's gonna take a while for me to actually get an actual bed to be comfy. But, can't complain otherwise. It's another good Sunday for football. A lot of things at stake for my New York Jets who play Monday, and thank God I don't have to stress until the next day. So.
Speaking of being under the weather, we were supposed to have our SIM board member Noah Trombley with us this morning, but Noah woke up not feeling very well. So Noah, rest up, feel better. Don't watch the Dallas game; you're gonna get sicker. You know that. but we got you. But speaking of weather, Sports Insanity Network, we're extending our reach and our extensions out. And Noah Trombley, not just being a board member and a active participant, not only in the NFL, but with our wrestling and hockey podcasts. Noah's a meteorologist in Texas, and we just posted yesterday Noah's first Sunday forecast report for the Sunday Sideline Report. So please, if you're interested in stuff like that, want to get a hit out every Friday, that will be coming out. And soon we will have video attached with it, as well as Noah will be able to point to the nice little sun picture and make it nice and pretty. But now that we're past that, let's get into starting what happened on Thursday night. The Tennessee Titans took on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Pittsburgh Steelers ended up winning 20-16. Kenny Pickett, 19 to 30, 160 yards and a touchdown. But my focus still is on Will Levis, 22 of 39, 262, and no touchdowns, but one interception. Against a team like this was an encouraging 2 games for Will Levis. Derrick Henry, 75 yards and a touchdown. Also, Treylon Burks went down with a very serious injury in the beginning of the game. He was carted off. He is okay, but he is in full concussion protocol. He will not be playing this weekend. Dan, the Tennessee Pittsburgh game was kind of a battle between somebody who didn't really get the chance in the beginning and somebody who got the chance at the end, between Will Levis and Kenny Pickett. What do you take of Thursday's game?
Well, I think first things first, it was a back and forth match between the two teams. I'll tell you that much. Um, I think Kenny Pickett didn't really pick things up till late in the game when Pittsburgh took the lead. They had to come from behind. Keep that in mind. And pretty much the offense was they weren't non-existent, but they weren't moving as much as I expected. Performance from Pittsburgh was a little bit lackluster, but I think what matters is how they finished, and they finished pretty strong. They got able to get that touchdown. They were able to, um, come back and win the game. So in that sense, they actually did play real well, especially in the fourth quarter. Um, I thought Will Levis was terrific for Tennessee. Uh, but again, he's a rookie, so he's bound to make mistakes. He's not quite there yet. So I didn't really expect. I expected the offense to move better, which they did, but I didn't expect them to win this game.
Yeah, it was an interesting game, especially with all the rumors that Derrick Henry was going to be traded before this game was even going to happen. But go ahead, Dan.
I said I was going to believe that when I see it.
Yeah, reportedly Tennessee wanted not only a first round pick, but wanted a third and then a second the year after. No team was going to give that, especially with Henry not guaranteeing to sign an extension. So I don't think Derrick Henry. I mean, if he went to the right team, but we'll get into that in a minute. Speaking of the trade deadline, it came, it went, it wasn't spectacular, but there were some important moves, and the moves that were made that I thought two of the biggest was that came out of the Washington Commanders, where star draft pick, now mind you, unfortunately, he dealt with injuries in his first 2 years. Chase Young, who we have really never seen the real Chase stand up yet. But now you are putting Chase Young with his capabilities and what everybody knows he can do with Joey Bosa. Dan, that
Um,
I mean, scary.
yeah, it's a very scary thing. Not only does Chase Young get traded, but he's on a bye week, so now he gets to rest up even more for his first game with San Francisco. No, this is a great deal by the 49ers. Chase Young is a very young, athletic player. Yes, injury prone, but the dude is explosive when he's healthy, when he gets it right. He is explosive player. I saw that in Washington for 4 years. Man, like, this guy really has something. And he was a terrific draft pick by them. Just a shame that it didn't quite work out because Washington's always been mediocre. They're always had these distractions and the Dan Snyder stuff, and then now we have a new regime with Josh Harris. So clearly, he wants to do things his way, and Chase Young wasn't really his. It's a whole different dynamic now, and just a shame that didn't work out. But with the 49ers, it certainly should work out because the Niners still have a great defense despite their struggles lately. They still have a pretty good defense, and it only adds to the defense that's already pretty damn good, pretty deadly, sickening.
Now, the Commanders have been unloading talent, over the last few years, and rightfully so, as like Dan alluded to, the Dan Snyder problems. And this team has to become more of its own and not what it used to be. So it has to rebuild and define. And the only way they're going to do that is being able to draft. So they ended up trading another big key piece of their defense in Montez Sweat and going to the Chicago Bears. It was kind of interesting to see of all the teams out there, that's who they ended up making a deal with, as there were a lot of other teams who were offering more.
Yeah. Not only did Montez Sweat get traded, but the Bears actually extended him for like close to $90 million over 4 years. So he's going to be there for the long run. He's going to be there through the retool. He's going to be there with probably the new quarterback and the regime and everything. So he has a lot of job on defense to do with the Bears as well to really make them a massive contender. And I think he will. He's a good enough player. Why the Bears, I don't know, but I think Chicago really has it in them. Like they really see something. It's something that the Commanders probably didn't see.
Yeah, there might be some connection, whether it's family or whatnot, or it could be to a coach that made him more willing to go to a team that has literally no chance of making the playoffs. But as Dan did say, a $90 million extension. There was a reason he went there. So we'll see what that turns into. There were a lot of teams that ended up standing pat, and there were a few players that did not get moved. And to me, the biggest that I thought was going to get moved, especially with all the troubles in New York, was the Giants were going to do right by Saquon Barkley and get him somewhere where he has a chance of really succeeding, because they know after this year they can tag him again, but the tag will be so astronomical it won't make sense. Obviously, I know Noah and I talked about this. Dallas does nothing. There wasn't much out there for Dallas to really go after. With the Eagles picking up Julio Jones, that maybe I could have seen being done. If we're going to do anything, let's go get Des Bryant, bring him back, and we'll play him against Julio Jones that day. We'll worry about it. Dan, for what I just mentioned between Dallas and Saquon Barkley, were there any teams that didn't do anything that you thought was missed out on?
Well, certainly my team, the Jets, didn't do anything. Um, though they think they acquired someone for the offensive line for offensive help, so that's something. The Bengals were quiet too. I was kind
Yes.
of I was kind of shocked by them because they're on the rise. I guess their thinking was that their team is pretty healthy now, so they don't necessarily need to add. They're on a roll. They won 3 games in a row, so um, they. But I thought at least bolster their chances of going after maybe a division title. Certainly going after one of the top wild card spots, but I guess not. I guess that's that's not what they want to do. So uh, let's just hope that they continue rolling. They have a Sunday nighter versus Buffalo at home, so let's see if they continue to roll on. But they were very quiet as well. I expected something out of them. Uh,
Yeah, especially, if you look at all the star teams, San Francisco, and yes, I'm going to say Dallas because Dallas is there, Philadelphia. Philadelphia really made a great deal, you know, getting Julio Jones. And it's not like they're paying him a lot of money. He's just a more of a distraction, but that distraction caught a touchdown in the last game. So whether he's there as a decoy or he's there to catch the ball, it's a problem for defenses all across the league because now you're contending with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and now Julio Jones. I mean, a well-aged and very seasoned Julio Jones, but still it's Julio Jones. If we want to talk about disasters and troubles, we're back with the LA Raiders. As last week, Josh McDaniels let go due to a lot of issues. And it's not just the organization and front office. This was being pressed for by the players. I mean, I have never heard a team get together and want their coach fired so badly before, to the point that when after it happened, Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs slammed him after the game. Dan, the Raiders are now back in turmoil once again.
I think there was a mistake by the Raiders to hire this guy. Obviously, he had another crack at being a head coach, um, because he was the coordinator, offensive coordinator in New England for so long, learned under his man Bill Belichick for so long, and he had another crack at it, and of course he deserved it. But the thing is that given his history, first as the Denver head coach, and then of course now last couple of seasons in Las Vegas. Now we're starting to see a pattern. This guy can't be a head coach anymore. Not only does his team stink, but we now know that this version of Josh McDaniels is someone you can't tolerate. Someone that could easily break locker rooms, someone that could break organizations, that could make a mockery out of organizations. And the biggest thing, though, in my honest opinion, was the absolute character assassination. And look, he has not played well this season in New Orleans, but the character assassination of Derek Carr, making him out to be the problem with the Raiders, when in reality, the issue was the coaching. And we knew it was the coaching, too.
Right.
They allowed it to move forward, and they allowed it to Derek Carr to be scapegoat. And now, of course, he's been vindicated by the actions of McDaniels throughout the entire season. Not only just his behavior, but just in general, he just thinks as a coach he's terrible. And the look, I think the Raiders have a lot to think about in terms of their um, coaching hires and everything, because the Raiders organization has
Excuse me.
quote unquote bad as they are. This is far beyond the character that Al Davis once had. Al, da-
Absolutely.
Al Davis teams kicked your butt and kicked it hard. They made it known what the Raiders are. They're a classy franchise that they took no nonsense and that they always were about winning. This is a lazy franchise that Mark Davis has right now.
And I couldn't agree with you more on that. Adding to it, Jimmy G, who was one of the, well, we'll give him his full name, Jimmy Garoppolo, who was one of the high sought quarterbacks in the offseason to come and take a team and
Mhm.
be able to work with it as it wasn't working out for him where he previously was. It's not working out for him in Las Vegas either. So now we have the man, Mr. O'Connell, who looks like Derek Carr but can play like Favre. We'll see. We'll see
Funny,
if
funny.
this is the quarterback that Devontae Adams needs, because as Dan knows, it was. I mean, literally the line of a hair that Devontae Adams was about to join the New York Jets during the trade deadline, but it fell through at the last second.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that it didn't even because the Jets they could have used another big time receiver to complement Garrett Wilson because we all know Alan Lazard ain't it. And then on top of that, the tight ends, aren't flashing out as much as we thought they would. I'm not necessarily saying the young tight end Jeremy Ruckert, who's still growing into his own. He's a great blocker, but not a good pass catcher. not
The
not quite yet.
Howard Cross of the team.
But like yeah, like I need to see more out of the Jet receiving core. Right now, the Jet, it's only Garrett Wilson. And if that's all Zach Wilson has to rely on, then that's a problem. Like, it's almost as if the Jets really blew the ball trying to get Adams. Like, I think they didn't do it enough. To me,
It was talked. Yeah. Sorry, Dan.
they have the capital to do it. So I don't understand why.
There was no. I'm sure that there's a lot of rumors on why, and I don't want to talk about rumors on why it fell through. I would rather hear it straight from the horse's mouth and let it come from the Jets or come from the Raiders organization, because rumors are what they are. They're just trouble starters. Speaking of trouble starters, he's finally massaged out. He's ready to go. Deshaun Watson will make his return, so to speak, after missing pretty much the first half of the season to the Cleveland Browns, who have one of the best defenses I've seen play football all year. But, nothing against PJ Walker. He was put into a tough decision. But now you're talking Deshaun Watson, and with a Browns organization that's not out of it yet. Dan, with Deshaun Watson back, can the Browns recover and actually be the threat that a lot of us thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season?
They almost have to be, but something scares me because Deshaun has not played well ever since he got to Cleveland. He has not played very well. But they have to be though. They have to be almost perfect, and he has to be crystal clear, clean in the pocket and playing good game because they're gonna need him. They're gonna make some type of run, and they're in the thick of the playoff race right now. So they're gonna need his big time play starting this week. And if you're the Browns, the best case scenario is that he doesn't turn the ball over. He has a good passing game, good protection, and then of course you just allow your defense to, simply just put pressure on the other team's offense and make big plays and get stops, so that you're not put into any tough, dire scenarios.
Deshaun Watson, when watching him in Texas, when he played for the Texans, him and DeAndre Hopkins, it was probably one of the best wide receiver quarterback connections ever to play the game. And, when DeAndre went to Arizona and Deshaun had his problems, we were all thinking Deshaun is done. Then he gets the deal with Cleveland. He misses much of the opening start, but now he's got Amari Cooper, David Njoku. He's got Kareem Hunt. Yes, he's missing Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb is a big loss to have.
They have enough offensive weapons to get through.
Right.
Nick Chubb was a big loss, but come on now. As long as you have good play calling and good, blocking on the line, and you can move the ball, who cares? And Deshaun, he can run too.
And definitely Dan is right on that. So, any team can beat any team on any given Sunday. But if there's any time to stop the naysayers, so to speak, Deshaun needs to have a big game.
Right.
And I'm not saying 350 yards, 10 touchdowns. I'm saying if he has a solid 225-yard game, a touchdown, and he goes 65% or better, I say that's what you want to see out of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Now, if talking about the Cleveland Browns isn't enough and talking about all our fun teams, let's get into games of the week. Currently in progress, in Frankfurt, Germany, we have the Miami Dolphins taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's no blowout score here, as right now it is in the second quarter with about 11 minutes to go. KC's leading Miami 7-0.
Yeah, right now Tua I'm sure you're way far ahead. Tua just threw this weird ass pass. Seemed like a backwards pass, but they're calling it a forward pass. Now they're saying it's intentional grounding, which is a brutal display of football. Their Chiefs just absolutely putting a lot of pressure on the Dolphins right now.
Yeah, go ahead, then.
But yeah, no. Obviously, this is a big one for the Dolphins. They're trying to beat the Chiefs. This is pretty much a battle of like the top spot in the AFC and all that stuff. Like, they're all division leaders right now. So, this is obviously a big game in terms of conference play. But big for me in terms of division play because it's the Dolphins. If the Dolphins lose, Jets win. Hello, we have some life back into the division. So that would be pretty nice. But realistically speaking, the Chiefs are better on paper, but the Dolphins have the way better coaching. It's not even close right now. And no disrespect to Andy Reid. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But the team looks so much different without Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator.
And Dan hit the nail right on the head with that. I mean, Eric Bieniemy is the difference because it's Patrick Mahomes is still being Patrick Mahomes doing his type of stuff, but he's trying to do it with receivers who have not worked with him much before. Besides, obviously, he's got Travis Kelce, but you got to give these guys credit. Sky Moore is doing a great job. Isaac Pacheco is trying to become that dual threat in running and receiving. So, we'll watch, but Mike's right. Mike's right. Dan's right. Mike's not here. Mike's sitting out on a beach somewhere surfing right now. We love you, Mike. We miss you. Don't worry. Dolphins suck. It's okay. No, Tua, that pass was just weird, but something we've all noticed and we've all commented one way or about other is that when the games are played, whether it's being played at Wembley or now being played at Frankfurt, the field is 100 times different that they're playing on. And you can see it by the way they're not getting traction and being able to cut the way they're normally able to do. That's why you don't see blowout scores in the overseas games because it's a whole different feel and no real time to prepare for it.
Yeah.
So continuing on to our games of the week, a little bit different. I'm trying to incorporate games that have a little bit of meaning, but Dan and I have a little
You can
different.
call it what it is. The 1 o'clock window is the most atrocious window we've seen all year.
Right. So that's why we only have one game from it. And that's Tampa Bay, Houston. You
Okay.
know, I CJ Stroud has really, I can't say silenced the naysayers, but definitely has proven he deserves to be a starting quarterback for this team, taking his team to 3-4. Obviously, Tampa Bay with a little apprentice Baker Mayfield, the apprentice Baker, has done a mediocre job. Hasn't done horrible, but hasn't done exceptional either. But these two teams that are battling out at 3-4, what do you think this game is going to be like, Dan? Tampa Bay, Houston.
Well, Tampa Bay is the young team, so they're just going out there playing out their minds because they don't know what to do. Just going what it is. They don't know any better, so they're obviously going to um they're going to do everything possible to try to win games and stuff, even though they're not very good. Though I will say about the quarterback, dude's a beast. He's going to be a star in the league, and I expect a lot from him moving forward. And you have every right to just continue to put the pressure on him because he's going to need it for sure. Um, but yeah, no, it's a battle of a more veteran team versus a young, flashy team. And right now, it seems like Tampa Bay, as the veteran team, is playing under par a little bit. Not, and of course, I expected Todd Bowles to be a bad coach, but I didn't expect this bad. I didn't expect
Well,
this.
yeah.
And
Well, all fairness to poor Todd Bowles is that
yeah,
he's lost a lot of that team,
I know.
but
I
we
understand.
did not expect it to be this
Yeah,
sour.
no. And look, I the excuse is always the division. The problem is compared to the rest of the division, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should be miles better than everyone else. Maybe,
Technically,
maybe
yes.
the Saints. Maybe the Saints are the closest one to them. But from what we've seen all year, all the quarterbacks in that division stink. The defenses are iffy. Offenses can move, but not as much. To me, the best offensive team in that division, in my eyes at least, is Tampa Bay. So why not go out there and win more games? That's where coaching comes in, and
Absolutely.
it's gonna come down to that really. Like who's going to mess it up in the end? Is it going to be the offense or is it going to be the play calling? Um, But yeah, so yeah, you have that aspect of it, but then of course you have the flashy young team with a rookie head coach and my long lost cousin D'Amico Ryans, who that's a joke by the way,
Yeah.
who, who has done a terrific job taking this very young, spunky team, no one knows anybody, to a serviceable record. Like this is something that I have to applaud um, for the Houston Texans. They have done a terrific job at playing hard and not giving up. And the quarterback, like we said before, we were talking about it. He's gonna be a star in the league. This guy, you give him big time wide receivers, whether it's through the draft or whether it's in free agency. This guy is going to be a stud.
And they got to get him a few pieces. Look, Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary are capable running backs. One's more of a bruiser, the other one has a little bit of agility. They need a solid running back to help him out. Tank Dell has been a big surprise this season for Houston as he's really come on the scene. He had two big games, but he's been consistent. So there's a lot for CJ Stroud to work with and build on in that club. I personally think Houston's going to win this game. Dan, what about you?
I could see Houston winning, so that's why I'm going to choose them. But I'm not counting out the Bucks so I wouldn't be surprised if they win too. I'm leaning more towards Houston because I feel like not only have they are they getting better, they're looking more comfy as time goes on. Um, and I just like seeing all these up and coming teams just ball out. So, that's where I stand.
Now, as Dan alluded, that the 1 o'clock games are practically shite. And, no offense to anybody who has a team
Yeah,
that's playing in the
yeah. I
one
mean,
o'clock.
over here there is one good game,
Uh,
Baltimore, Seattle, which is you know,
But when you look at it as a whole, the second half of the day and then Sunday night and Monday night show us much better games. So we're going to move on, but we're not going to go to the big game. We're going to go to the Sunday night game, and that being Buffalo Cincinnati. Buffalo sitting at 5-3 has been a little rocky. Has had its up and downs. Dismantled the Commanders, but then looked weak and then looked good against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 4-3, who have definitely started to recover from that tumultuous start at the beginning of the season. And Jamar Chase is starting to prove why he's always open, because he literally is. The guy can be anywhere on the field. Dan, my question for this game really comes down to this: who needs this win more to stay division wise in rankings? Obviously, both teams would want to win, but when it barrels down to it, who needs it more?
so well, Buffalo because they're right there. They also Buffalo has a lot. Buffalo lately has had wins, but they're not very impressive wins. So they obviously they should have lost to the Giants. Um, if one player from the Bucks turns around during that Baker Mayfield Hail Mary, get it right, Denny. Baker Mayfield Hail Mary, that's a touchdown, and the Bucks win the game. Um, so not very impressive showings is what I should say, from the Buffalo Bills of late, and of course the loss to the Patriots, which is absolutely brutal. But I think that, so. Yeah, no, the Bills have a lot to prove tonight, so definitely them. But for Cincinnati, given the division that they're in, and given the scenario that they were dealt with earlier in the season, not getting off to the fastest start, but now slowly but surely starting to get into their footing. I think for Cincinnati, this is even bigger because of the circumstances that they're in, and of course, they're playing great right now. So I have no doubt that Cincinnati is going to win this game.
Okay. I myself, I look at this game and we know we're going to say it. I feel for Nate Moser because I know what it's like to have a team that has so much potential, and then you watch how they come out and play rocky or aloof a little bit, and then you want to go nuts, throw stuff, break a TV. Don't worry, we're going to drop Nate through a table. Don't worry, we'll lower him down softly so he can be able to show his Buffalo pride. But I have Buffalo taking this game because of the 1 point Dan made, is that Buffalo is not at the top of the AFC East. It's Miami. So for once, I mean, I guess you can put it this way: Buffalo's kind of behind the 8 ball here. If they don't keep it up, they can find themselves, 10-7 and out of the playoffs because they're not keeping pace. Moving right along. Now, it wouldn't be a weekend unless we talk about gangrene, unless we mention this team who, at the beginning of the season, before the fourth play, was definitely a team that was expected not only offensively, but defensively to be good. Ended up losing their star signed $50 million quarterback due to a torn Achilles. However, even though we all said that's it, it's done, the New York Jets have been impressive. Not overly offensively, mostly defensively. Defensively, you got to give credit where credit due. I also give Zach Wilson a lot of credit for doing what he's doing to keep this team at 3-4. It's a hard task after seeing what happened last year and you're getting benched and now you're being told, oh, you're now second fiddle to Aaron Rodgers. No, now he's got the team in his hand and he's got them at 3-4,
Four
but
and three.
now he's also, I'm sorry, he's got them at 4-3, and now he's facing the Los Angeles Chargers with lightning sunshine Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen. It's funny enough that both of these teams, and I'm not trying to make a crack at Dan, I'm just saying, funny enough that both of these teams still have a chance to possibly make the playoffs. What has to come out of this game, Dan? Obviously, as you being the Jets fan, you take the Jets side, I will take the Chargers side.
So for the Jets, first of all, uh, the animosity towards Zach Wilson is atrocious. It's ridiculous. People continue to kill this guy. And look, we're not saying he's a top 30 quarter. I'm not saying he's a top 30 quarterback in the league. He's probably bottom of the barrel. Okay, and that's fine. You can say that. To say that this guy stinks and has not made significant improvements is ridiculous.
Great.
Was pressured like 20 some odd times against the Giants. And of course, the offensive line had a terrible day against the Giants' defensive front. And then obviously, Zach Wilson obviously did not make the best decisions last Sunday. But can we give this guy his flowers for at least going out there doing an impossible job and improving? Again, probably bottom of the barrel quarterback. This dude can make big time throws, something that we have not seen Zach Wilson do yet. Make big time throws to big time receivers in big time scenarios. The 24-second drill was absolutely terrific.
Yes, it was.
So I think so. Yeah, so Zach Wilson's done a terrific job. I think people who will continue to kill him, saying that he's not improving and anything, they're just blinded by all the anti-Zach Wilson hate that he continues to get month after month. But for the Jets in this game, we gotta see a lot more. We gotta see a better play calling from Nathaniel Hackett. Okay, let the dude play. Let Zach Wilson cook. Have some type of design runs. He may not be the best runner, but design runs for the kid. Let him roll out of the pocket. Again, we saw what he can do in the 24-second drill when he had to go down the field and get into field goal range, which he did a spectacular job at. You saw him make big time throws. Why can't he do that all game? What are you afraid of? They're afraid of the him running because they're afraid of him getting hurt. What are you afraid of throwing the ball? You're afraid he's going to throw an interception? Well, if the last few seconds of the Giants game in regulation, what we saw was a poised Zach Wilson who can make big time throws to big time receivers. I don't understand why you can't center your play calling around that, change it up a little bit. Can we feed Breece Hall too? Like, what are we afraid of with that? I mean, look, he got more carries, 12, and the Giants did a pretty good job at containing him. But Breece Hall can turn it up at any point. He can make everyone miss. And once everyone misses and he has an opening anywhere, he'll take it to the house. So why not utilize him more? And then at the end of the day, the Jets have a top defense. Put the pressure on the defense to make the big time stops to win the game. And look, I'm not saying that the Jets are perfect, but you can give that sympathy and stop the Chargers and Justin Herbert from scoring a lot of points. They can have a chance to win this game. And the disrespect of the Jets is ridiculous from the media. I'm sick and tired of it.
I understand Dan's plight because as being a diehard Dallas fan, I hear it all the time. Just a quick update. Jared McKinnon, a 15-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes goes in for the touchdown. KC now up 13-0, pending extra point. The Los Angeles Chargers And for the last 3 years, everybody before the season starts has them as a top tier team. And when you look at it on paper with Herbert, you had Allen. Unfortunately, you lost Mike Williams to a ACL tear. You have one of the best dual threats in Austin Eckler. Joshua Palmer is having a good season as a backup, getting some time in. But it hasn't translated into what it should be. The Chargers have the weapons, but the problem is their secondary, even with Derwin James, as we saw last week, the Dallas Cowboys picked them apart piece by piece. And this is the prime game for Zach Wilson if the Jets decide to go, as we call it, small ball baseball, small ball football, small 5 yard, 6 yard crossing routes, get the ball to Brees Hall more. Why you didn't trade Dalvin Cook for anything, I don't understand. I mean, I would have taken a 7th round pick for him. He's not doing anything there. What's the point? However, that being said, I don't think the Los Angeles Chargers can move the ball on this Jets secondary. I think it's going to be up to the Jets defensive line to stop Austin Eckler, and that's a problem in and of itself. So I'm predicting a Chargers win, but not by much. I'm saying 3 points. But I think it's going to be one of the more fun games to watch over the weekend. However, the game that needs to be broadcast, the game that needs to be seen across the world is being seen, except in New York, New Jersey, and Delaware.
Which is atrocious. How about can we kill? We need to kill the NFL and Fox for not making this nationally televised game.
I understand when you're in a state, teams have certain rights. Fine. Get on a sister network, get with somebody, let CBS, NBC, ABC, put it on Disney Plus if you have to.
Here's what you do. Yeah, I'm looking at the TV maps right now. Here's what you do. You take one of the games, probably Seattle, Baltimore, and you put that as one of the late games on CBS. Then you insert that, or you insert the Giants as one of the late games on CBS. And then you have Dallas, Philly be the nationally televised game.
This is, sorry, go ahead, then.
That's what you do. And if you want to put the Seahawks Baltimore late as well, you can have 3 late games on CBS. They're not going to be in the same time zone anyway.
Right.
And then you have the nationally televised Fox game,
which is the game of the
week. And that's how you do it. It's atrocious that the NFL didn't find a way to get that done.
And obviously, the game we are talking about is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles,
or put the Baltimore game on Fox,
right?
Since Seattle's visiting, right?
Yep. There should be no reason why this game is not televised. That being said, Dan and I got our little frustration out there. Dan is going to take the Philadelphia Eagles because there's no way in hell I'm going to really talk about them nicely. So we want to keep this a nice, friendly family show. So we're going to make sure that we represent it right. The Dallas Cowboys have everything not only to win in this game, but everything can lose. The whole season can happen right here. This game will tell you whether Dallas. We all saw what happened against the San Francisco 49ers a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to hear about injuries. I don't want to hear about whatnot. Dallas got embarrassed. If Dallas wants to shut up everybody, Steve Smith, whether you're listening to me or not, I don't care. This is the game where you're going to wear a Cowboys hat and say, I love Dallas at the end. Because Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard are going to have good games. CeeDee Lamb, Braden Cooks, and Michael Gallup are going to have good games. The Philadelphia defense is their weak point. And I'm saying this because if you look at what Philadelphia has done defensively over the last 5 weeks. They've almost lost to the Commanders twice.
Right.
They've given up almost 20 plus points on other games. Mind you, Jalen Hurts, and then we'll get to in a minute, has a lot to work with to keep points coming in. But if the Dallas Cowboys can come out and be this offense where Tony Pollard is getting you 4 or 5 yards per carry, I'm not, and on first down, not 2 yards on second down to make it 3rd and 7. No, 4 or 5 yards on first down, get the first down, change it up a little bit, move the ball, throw the ball to Cooks, let Gallup go deep. Who cares? I am sick and tired, like Dan said about Zach Wilson. Dak Prescott gets all the crap thrown on to him that anybody can because he's playing on a premier team, and like a bunch of quarterbacks I know who have not gone to the Super Bowl, gets more criticism when he throws an interception. Well, here's news for the NFL. Dak Prescott is at the low end of interceptions thrown, and he's still being talked about as garbage, even though he's got this team rolling right now. This is the game that is going to decide Dak's future in Dallas. Dak wins. Dak gets his full extension. Trey Lance becomes number 2. Cooper Rush will be traded in some fashion. Fine. The defense. What does Dallas have to do? DeAndre Swift, then we'll get to, has to be contained. And now you're asking Stephon Gilmore and Deron Bland. They did a great job with Nakua and Kupp last week, but now you're asking them to stop Brown and Devonta Smith, and that's not easy. Dan, Philadelphia.
So for the Eagles, and mind you, I have no say over anything here in this game. Doesn't affect my team or anything. But here's what I'll say about to the best team in the NFL as I picked up my ear a little bit and bleeding a bit. Don't worry, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
It wasn't me.
No, look, I think the Eagles, they're the best team in the NFL. Best record for sure. And they need to play like it. They need to have a big-time defense. They need to have big-time offense, which they have. They all need to come together again, and they need to show Dallas why they are the best, why they have the best record in the NFL. They need to be explosive on both sides of the ball. It's a matter of that rather than, as Mark is looking over at the game, it's a matter of that and just being able to contain Dallas. It's going to be hard to pick apart Dallas's defense because Dallas defense is something of a beauty to watch. It really is. You know, not only do they have a smart defense, they have an explosive defense. Oh boy. And truly, I just think that you can't give them any chance in this game because you never know what Dak Prescott can look like on any given Sunday or Monday or Thursday. You don't know what Dak Prescott you're going to get. He's very inconsistent for sure, but you never know what type of Dallas team you're going to get, and you can't let Dallas's defense burn you. So if I'm Jalen Hurts, big time passing game, big time. I'm not sure about the running game. The defensive front's actually pretty damn good. But if you wanted to try to get the running game going, good. Definitely big time passing game. Defense has got to come through because you do not want to give Dallas any shot whatsoever.
So if all of you didn't hear that loud kaboom that came across our set about a few minutes ago, Mike Rifkin just yelled from California and stamped on the ground and hissed and screamed and moaned. Okay. Tyreek Hill received the pass from Tua Tag and was dead stopped in the backfield. However, credit to the KC defense to not just try to get him down, got the ball out, fumble recovery, instead of over trying, the defender, mind you, it went so fast, so it's hard to see who it was, turned around, saw that he had his teammate right behind him, and Cook pitched it backwards and taken 60 plus yards for a KC touchdown, putting KC up 21 to nothing with 33 seconds left in the first half.
He took it to outhouse, warehouse, farmhouse, dog house.
It was housed.
House.
I mean, it wasn't mossed. This was plain robbery. This was stolen, and this is a mistake you don't see Tyreek Hill make a lot either. Tyreek Hill is one of the guys you can rely on to hold on to the ball. So, you know, it was actually something really cool to watch and whatever. Moving on a little bit. I don't have a rapid fire like Mike always has. I have more of the Halpern quick notes. So I want to talk about quickly Minnesota. And there was a trade made because, unfortunately for Kirk Cousins, look, I might not like Kirk Cousins, but I never see a player who gets injured and whatnot and is going to miss the season, has the Aaron Rodgers injury of a torn Achilles and will miss the rest of the year. For Josh Dobbs, who was out in the Arizona Cardinals. Josh Dobbs is not the best quarterback in football that they could have gotten, but Josh Dobbs has done something in Arizona that hasn't been done a lot, and he's been proving that he can win. He's kept his team close. I mean, they beat the Cowboys, caught the Cowboys by surprise. He has a mediocre running back crew like he did in Arizona. No offense to the Cardinals. No offense to Andre Madison. He's got a decent receiving core. He's got a good tight end. The chances of Minnesota really doing anything to make the playoffs, I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible, improbable, yes, but we'll see how that happens. Dan, what I wanted to ask you is, we saw that Kirk Cousins went down like Aaron Rodgers, and obviously, unlike the Giants and willing to go to their third string, they went out and got somebody who at least is NFL ready, and Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, so the Vikings did a good job. They look. I don't know if Minnesota wins the rest of the season. I certainly have. I think I have them winning this week. But I don't know if they win the rest of the season. I don't. I just team is too unpredictable for me. But what I will say about Minnesota is they're making the right moves based on what's available out there to better their team. Now, of course, I would argue a certain ball player by the name of Kaepernick probably would have been better. Just saying. But we're not going to get into the reasons as to why he's really not in the NFL. But yeah, no, like I think Minnesota, based on what's out there, based on a quick need, did a good job at getting that quick need. So in that sense, it was a smart play. The question is whether it will help them throughout the rest of the season. Again, I just don't know if it will. But I am impressed with Joshua Dobbs. He's done an absolutely terrific job. He was good with Arizona, and again, it's just a shame that Arizona just stinks. And then of course Arizona at first didn't know they were bad. they're playing football just like everyone else, but now they know they are bad, and they had to make that deal. And I think he'll do the best he can with Minnesota.
And, I only see it being real. I mean, we know Joshua Dobbs can throw the ball. I mean, he's made some nice passes this season. My lookout is for Jordan Addison really to get a chance because, with Justin Jefferson now on IR, it's Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison being the rookie really has a chance to step up here and to prove why Minnesota took him over certain other receivers who were still out there at the time. So I'm looking for Jordan Addison to break out and have a great year, a great day today. But yes, I am also with Dan that I do have Minnesota winning this game. Now is a fun little segment that we always have. It's Fantasy Player of the Week. There are a lot of games that you can possibly choose from. And Dan, I want you to give me two. I want you to give me the offensive and defensive player fantasy. Mind you, when you talk, let me rephrase my statement. Sorry. I want to know the offensive fantasy player of the week and the team defense of the week. Can't just single out one defensive player.
So I have the Bills defense to come out on top. Again, I don't know how much they're going to come out on top because it's going to be a really close game against Cincinnati. By the way, just a little quick thing about the Cincinnati game against Buffalo. DeMar Hamlin making a return
Yes.
after his incident in January of last season. So good emotional return for the Bills, emotional return for DeMar Hamlin, emotional for Cincinnati. So just want to point that out. But the Bills defense I had there, and Brees M. effing Hall is going to be my guy, my offensive player of the week. He's going to soar against them.
I mean, I like Dan's two picks. I think they're solid. I think they have potential. I'm going a different way. After watching what the Commanders did last week and knowing Bill Belichick and how good of a defensive coach he is, I have the New England Patriots going off on the Commanders. And I'm not just talking interceptions. I say Bill Belichick has something still left to prove in this team. And Mac Jones isn't it. We're happy Bill has got that next win. You know, he's inching closer. But for this game, New England's defense is going to win that game for them. As my offensive player of the game, there's a lot of people. And like Dan, I'm going my own team, but I'm not going running back because Philadelphia does have a good run defense. I'm going CD Lamb, baby. 10 plus receptions, 125 plus yards, and two scores. Not one, two scores today. It is going to be a fun day. It's going to be electric. If you need to take a nap, do it during the 1 o'clock games because, in all mind you, it's not really worth watching. No offense to anybody whose teams are out there in the NFL. The 4 o'clock games is where it all gets started, where all of us will be going to the bar to try to watch games that we can't see. Thank you, Fox Sports, for that. Please come and check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com, where you can check out all our blogs that are written by the one and only Mike the Pun Master Rifkin, Mark Oldovsky Halpern. Yeah, I spoke of myself in the third person. Don't know why. We got fun articles from Ali Lena regarding wrestling. We got multiple podcasts dealing with Danny Boy Reginald and Bill Murphy going every Thursday night for Gridiron. We have multiple new podcasts with our weather podcast. We have a bowling podcast that's now in blog version. Rudy Campos, that one is directed for you. Patch wanted to create that for you as you're both big time bowlers, and that is a charity bowling match we will set up one day. Dan, if they're looking for us on the one platform that I always seem to forget the signs, where can they find us?
X. Elon Musk changed the name back. X. At S Insanity Real and at S Insanity Real as well on Facebook. Please stay with our socials for more information when we go live on YouTube right here. Like, comment, subscribe, click the bell so we get notifications from when we're live, when we have new videos and all that stuff.
That being said, the new 1 of 1 will be displayed tonight. It is a case break that we are starting with. Thank you very much to Richard and Amy Glotzer for giving me one more chance back to bring the dugout of Millwood back to where it once was. It is coming back. We're coming back strong. However, any case breaks we do here, you can't buy your cards here. You got to go to Top Notch Sports, baby, the Cosign Group. The Cosign Group to go to for your breaks. Justin and Anthony and John are the best at it. We want to thank you for tuning in to tuning into this broadcast, the Sunday Sideline Report, which you can see every Sunday. Tune in this week as we will have other podcasts coming out between wrestling, football, and soon to be coming, the Hard Court will be back as a blogged version, as we will be slowly restarting our basketball blog between me and Danny Boy Reginald, as we are the solid Knicks fans, but we also have good knowledge on everything else. Enjoy your Sunday. Have fun. Stay safe. And as always, catch you on the flip side.